Good morning. Hey, there we go. We'll do it again. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester. We're a church of open minds and loving hearts, celebrating many sources of wisdom and many spiritual paths. Your faith, your doubts, your questions, your identities are welcome here. Special welcome to visitors and newcomers. We're glad you're here. There's a preschool playroom open anytime for young ones and activities for kids following the Time for All Ages. And after service, you can join us down in the Commons for refreshments where you can find ways to get involved in the life of the church and in the community. Last week, gratitude for this, we collected over $1,700 for a special immigration justice offering. Today, we are continuing to collect for our August Justice partner, Rochester for Reproductive Freedom through Planned Parenthood, a movement of local youth promoting access and information for reproductive justice. So you can give as the plates pass or any time online. Thank you for your continued generosity to supporting these values in our community and beyond. And so as we move toward fall, here are some key, maybe it's good for you, I don't know. So here are some key dates that we'll keep sharing that are in the e-news as well. We return to 2 services on Sunday, September 10th, the Sunday after Labor Day weekend, with our annual water communion service where you can bring water to share. And following the services that day, Locus Architects will be here for a forum and presentation about initial concept designs for our new church home. So that forum will be recorded if you can't be there. So that's September 10th. And then the following week, September 17th, we'll gather in the afternoon after our morning services at our new location for a ceremony of dedication of our relationship with the land. That will be at 1:30. And a special thank you to over, 40 or more volunteers who worked on the new land yesterday, helping to begin creating pathways, clear some of the brush so we can gather there in about a month, and start that long work of being in relationship with that land and making it our home. So thanks to all who helped. There will be increased opportunities in the weeks and months to come as well. And throughout the next several weeks, you can visit the tables in the Commons to get connected and sign up for small groups, classes, forums, including today's last formal day to sign up for fall chalice circles. You can also sign up in the coming weeks for Sunday greeting and ushering, cook teams, and teaching, remembering that it takes all of us to help this church thrive and stay connected. So you can find all of that downstairs in the Commons as well as through your e-news. We hope you find ways to get connected in small groups. And today after service, newcomers are welcome to join me and others right here in the sanctuary for a new to UU visitor chat. If you're interested in membership or just want to learn more about our church, come for a casual conversation right here in the sanctuary at 11:30. So all are welcome to that. In just a moment, the music will call us back. The lyrics are in your gray hymnal, number 108, we're out of gray hymnal, so share with your neighbors as needed, or sing it from heart, or just hum along, or do whatever you can to participate. That'll call us back in a moment, but now I invite you to rise in body or spirit and greet those around you.
We gather in this space this morning for a time to breathe and be together. Let us light our chalice today and sit in its symbol with these words by Mr. Rogers. When I say it's you I like, I'm talking about that part of you that knows that life is far more than anything you can ever see or hear or touch. That deep part of you that allows you to stand for things without which humankind cannot survive. Love that conquers hate, peace that rises triumphant over war, and justice that proves more powerful than greed.
I'd like to invite the children forward. We'll gather right up over here. Good morning. How is everyone doing today? Good? So, I have the Wonder Box today, and I'm wondering what is in there. Oh, here comes some more friends. Thea. Come on over here. So my whole entire life, from about age 5 till now, and continuing, has revolved around one event, one schedule, let me say. So in my Wonder Box, I have this piece of paper. What does this make you think of? School? And what about this? Pencil? Henry David Thoreau, yes. That's next week. That might be next week. But yeah, definitely school. Because from the time I was 5 until even now, every fall was marked by school. Kindergarten, I went to college, even after college, because I was a teacher. And then once I finished teaching, I had kids. And then now my kids go to school. And then I'm here too, and it's kind of a school year, but we also call it the mark of the beginning of the program year. Or I call it the church year because our church year kind of restarts every fall. And so when I was looking around today, I found this piece of paper and pencil and thought, this is something that has always marked time in my life. Who likes to back to school shop? Who likes to get new school supplies? Which is totally different than like back to school, right? So yeah, there are certain things that we do that kind of mark time that aren't necessarily like on the calendar, right? And so there's another thing that kind of marks time. What do you think of when you see this? Thanksgiving, because it's guest at our table box. And what do you think of when you see this? Snowman, Christmas cards. And then what about this? Flower communion, springtime. But did anybody tell you that those things were happening? Like if you just saw me or got one in your mail or saw one hung up? Did anybody tell you that that's what it is? No, but that's part of the ritual. Kind of like when we light the chalice, that's a ritual that tells us that we are here to be together, and we're going to be doing some singing together, listening together, worshiping together. There are certain things that mark that time. So as we get ready to go back to school and back to the church year, program year, do you think that there might be some new faces around? I actually see a lot of new faces out here even today. Is it hard sometimes being that new person? Yeah. What can we do to help? Make them feel welcome. Greet them, say hi. If we see somebody eating lunch by themselves, what should we do? Ask them if they want you to sit with them, or if they want to sit with you. It's always showing kindness and trying to be intentional with what we're doing. So we often mark these rituals in time with things that we don't even really mark off on a calendar. They're just things we know that mark things. So we are going to go down and do our lesson today in preparation for the land ceremony. We're going to do a little bit of arts and crafts for that. So while they play the children's benediction, it can be found in the back inside cover of your hymnal. I'll meet the children over there and we'll walk downstairs.
Good morning. It's good to be with you. I invite you to settle in here as we create a place of communal caring and connection. It's our time to pause amidst the busyness of our lives, to slow down enough to consider the beauty that is here all around us, and to open a space for listening and love. Here, we honor all who support us in this caring, loving, and all-inclusive ministry. We send gratitude to Joyce Wood and Phyllis Beery, serving as our caring coordinators, arranging care for our members and friends in need. The members of our caring committee are wonderful examples of our compassionate community, holding us up as we go through challenging and happy times. And life can be challenging. We could all use some extra support with what life throws at us. And if you are experiencing those challenges in your life, we encourage you to reach out for help and support. If you need additional care or personal pastoral care, please reach out to Reverend Luke or myself with that request. Today's flowers are shared by Jen and Bruce Bjorgum in celebration of their 50th wedding anniversary on August 18th. Yeah. We wish them many, many more years of happiness, and you can celebrate with them after the service down in the Commons. In this community, we share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because all people here have value. Each person's experience matters. We lift up those who are experiencing sadness, illness, or loneliness. May the strength and love in our congregation help guide you. We revel in those who are experiencing joys in their lives. May their happiness lift us all, and may their joy filter into all around them. This morning, we hold Randy McKeeman in our thoughts with this update. Randy is recovering from surgery at St. Mary's Hospital on Tuesday, August 15th, for esophageal cancer. He and his family are grateful for the outpouring of love and support from this community, friends, and for his healthcare team. He hopes to be discharged later this week, and we send strength and love through this healing process. Here, our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith is our focus. Let us carry that out into the wider world. May the faith in the spirit of life, love for the community of earth, and love for the light in each other be ours now and in all the days to come.
I want you to take a deep breath. Breathe deep the breath of life. Feel below you the earth and its ancient turning. Above you the sky, and beyond that the stars shining with their ancient light, holding you in this moment, this breath. You yourself made of earth and stars. Know that in this house you are named and known as beloved, as sacred. I invite you into this time of meditation, this time of prayer, first by sharing silence together. Spirit of life, source of love, God and Gaia of many names and beyond all naming. At the thresholds of the day, or of the seasons, or the year, or a life, those moments where it feels like we have to squeeze everything in to be able to move through the doorway or through the soul way to whatever comes next. Can feel like such a jumble of emotions, of tasks. For some, it's freneticism. For others, a lonely quiet. For many, a mixture of it all, and I'm not sure how to fit it all in feeling. All the tasks, all the feelings, to do and be all the things at the right time. Help us give each other and ourselves a little space to breathe, to to carve out or create or protect, sometimes by naming those needs to others, often needing to name those needs for space, pause, or joy to ourselves. Hold in our hearts this day all those who suffer in mind, body, or spirit. We hold the queer folks affected by the Minneapolis shooting last week. And we hold the people of Maui and beyond and all the places hit with wildfires and the destruction of climate change. We hold all those spaces that feel unsafe by the threat of hatred, the threat of this changing world. May we hold each other for a better future in love. I invite you to bring the names you're holding in your own heart this day in joy or sorrow, celebration or concern, and silently or aloud now in this time to speak their names. For all the names spoken and unspoken, may we be held in love and grace. May we be instruments of love in the world, noticing the beauty all around us, being honest about harm done by ourselves or from others, that we might live in the ways of reconciliation and healing and peace. These words of meditation are from Lynn Twist, who writes, "We often have a choice in any setting to step back and to let go of the mindset of scarcity. Once we let go of scarcity, we discover the surprising truth of sufficiency. And by sufficiency, I don't mean a quantity of anything. Sufficiency isn't 2 steps up from poverty or 1 step short of abundance. It isn't a measure of barely enough or more than enough. Sufficiency isn't an amount at all. It is an experience, a context we generate, a declaration, a knowing that there is enough, and we are enough. May it be so. Amen." The hymn of meditation is in your order of service on the inside cover. There is a love. I'll sing it once through, then Rose will lead us as we sing together. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all I rest in this love. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all I rest in this love. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all I rest in this love.
The first reading is A Word on Statistics by Wisława Szymborska, translated by Joanna Trzyciak. Out of every 100 people, those who always know better, 52. Unsure of every step, almost all the rest. Ready to help if it doesn't take too long, 49. Always good because they cannot be otherwise, 4. Well, maybe 5. able to admire without envy, 18, led to err by youth, which passes, 60 plus or minus, those not to be messed with, 40 and 4, living in constant fear of someone or something, 77, capable of happiness, 20-some odd at most, harmless alone, turning savage in crowds, more than half for sure, cruel when forced by circumstances, it's better not to know, not even approximately, wise in hindsight, not many more than wise in foresight, getting nothing out of life except things, 30, though I would like to be wrong, doubled over in pain and without a flashlight in the dark, 83 sooner or later, those who are just, quite a few at 35, but if it takes effort to understand, 3. Worthy of empathy, 99. Mortal, 100 out of 100, a figure that has never varied yet. The second reading is from Mary Ann Evans, maybe better known as George Eliot. If you sit down at set of sun and count the acts that you have done, and counting, find one self-denying deed, one word that eased the heart of him who heard, one glance most kind that fell like sunshine where it went, then you may count your day well spent. In gratitude, the ushers will now receive the offering.
So
The movement that I noticed was almost like instinct in this person. A quick shift in posture and a look of, okay, on their face, and they steadied the item in their hand and with their other arm gently braced an open palm up against the cabinet door above them. Perhaps you know this image or this experience, or at least have some idea about it from your own life or stories or movies. It really only takes one word: turbulence. This experience on planes, sometimes called, just a bit of rough air, and you wonder, what's a bit and how rough? We have different definitions of this, pilot. And why did the seatbelt sign turn on again? And this flight attendant walking down the middle of those already not so spacious aisles, certainly they know the feeling and all the details about planes and rough air and turbulence and more. And I'm always just a little jealous of them, how calm and collected they are with the chaos, flying inside this mechanical bird-like machine through the sky, something I barely understand the physics or the mechanics about, and I just sit there, helpless, and say, please carry me through the air to where I need to go. And as it begins to shake in the wide expanse of the heavens, these flight attendants just lean to the side, brace themselves against something, and say, want some sugar with your coffee? And there's something about their ability to be just fine with what feels like flailing around in the sky, stomach and heart dropping down or up, just trying to avoid the need for the little paper bag in the back seat pocket. And it's as if they just know with that look on their face, yeah, we're flying through the sky at 500 miles an hour, diving in and out of unpredictable air pockets. It's fine, but if it gets real bad, you might not get your little packet of cookies for a few more minutes. You're going to have to wait. And so I think in those moments, with all the instruments and gauges, all the calculations and miles of experience, with all the automated controls and measurements of air, even the most experienced folks in the cockpit, in the aisle, know that sometimes you just have to sit down, put your seatbelt on, brace yourself against something, which now certainly things have shifted during flight up there. And the only thing you can be certain of is that not every path is as smooth as you think it may be. There are bumps and drops and rattles along the way, and you trust that given the collective wisdom and skill and knowledge, that even though it isn't always perfect, most of the time you find your way just fine, and you catch your breath, and you recalibrate your equilibrium and land, we hope, safe and grateful and glad to be where you meant to go. How many times do we think like that in our own lives, in our shared communal lives, that there is a level of certainty we wish we could count on, predictability? For a religious tradition that is rooted in the mysterious, the mystical, the wide open search for truth and meaning, searching, as Sophia Lyon-Fahs said, everywhere and anywhere for the meaning of being. This tradition where we say we dare not fence the spirit, truth and wisdom are never sealed, and wisdom can and does speak from many sources, many teachers, 1,000 paths. And for a tradition whose spirituality purposely leans toward fluidity more than rigidity, openness and ambiguity more than doctrinal certainty, still, we like to have things figured out. We're not as comfortable with ambiguity and uncertainty, perhaps, as maybe we should be it in bylaw or policies, church governance, or building plans, how things ought to be set up, planned out, figured out. We want to know specifics and quickly. Be it even more, though, in our own personal lives, work, family, friends, politics. Sometimes, understandably, when the world feels like it's fleeting and fragile and complicated, it can be hard to feel okay with uncertainty, or a belief that there are many paths, not just about spirituality, but about our day-to-day living. It can be easy in our shared lives to fall into easy traps of absolutism, the idea that there is one way, one right answer, one path. Maybe in our spirituality, we like to think we stay open, but when it comes down to other things, it can be easy to want things a certain specific way, which I can safely say is against our religion. We normally don't say things quite so definitively, but our tradition, just hang with me here, absolutely rejects absolutism, which can feel like a contradiction, but I don't believe it is. It's a belief that not only can we, but we must stay open to ever-evolving truth and wisdom from sources we often don't even expect. But in our seeking to make sense of the world, we want things that we can count on, too, understandably. A belief that we can be sure of certain things, and sometimes it can feel like a formula of sorts. Take some of this, take some of that, measure out this much nature and this much poetry, and you'll have the perfect spiritually balanced life. This word formula, in fact, like every word, has a much more open history and etymology. It's common to think of a formulaic life, perhaps like certain scientific measurements or chemistry can come to mind of formulas. There can be some certainty in that, but a lot of mystery too. There's a life of consistency and predictability we often long for, yet the word for form is much more like the words of image or likeness, an outline, a model, not exactness. And one possible meaning that I love roots back to the word for morph. Form is like morph, to shift, to change, relating to movement and beauty. So perhaps a formulaic life can be so much less about certainty and solidified ideas and right answers and correct practices and ways of being. The idea of one way, sometimes my way or the highway, is how it's expressed. What if instead a formulaic sort of life is trying to attend to the morphing patterns, paying attention to changing conditions and ideas, staying open to the possibility that, in fact, there may be many possibilities that take on the form of beauty, not just one, but countless, if we have but the heart to notice. Unsure of every step, writes the poet, about this mixture of humanity and community. And in my reading of this poem, it's less about a number of people in a room exactly that are absolutely any of these things, but maybe about more of each of us, that we have within us these possibilities of experience day in and day out. So instead of out of 100 people, I started reading it like out of 100 days or out of 100 moments in my own day. How many of them am I ready to help? About 49. Always good? Maybe 5. Or maybe these are just the realities and the mixture of feelings and moments and actions that create and form a life, that we're unsure of every step, that we are ready to help, that we're able to admire without envy sometimes. And some days we are not to be messed with. We're living in fear of something or someone. Other days we're capable of happiness, or we're cruel when forced by circumstances. Some days we're wise in hindsight, or we're doubled over in pain. We're worthy of empathy, and we are mortal every day. Wonder when your soul is tired or weary or worse, when the day or the world is bumpy at best, jostling you around in unexpected times and unknown intervals, where the heart drops and the stomach jumps, where do you turn to steady yourself? What teachings or teachers do you reach toward? Poems or prayers or practices or places? What companions embody or sacred memory steady your soul just enough to find your way through the storm? The choir just sang about the practice, and Stephanie read to us about the invitation to measure our days by the words we use, kind words, the words and deeds we use any given day that fall like sunshine. At my home, when circumstances allow, which is always a caveat to a sometimes hectic schedule and household, but when circumstances allow, we try to reflect on the day as we have our evening meal with some basic questions that shift now and then. Sometimes it's sharing a high or a low for the day. Sometimes it's sharing a rosebud thorn, a rose being something good, a bud something we're excited about, a thorn something that's been harmful or sad or causes distress. Sometimes it's reflecting on what was I grateful for, or how did I help someone or something, or what mistakes did I make. Sometimes the children are much quicker at answering these than I am. Sometimes the challenge to think of one of these things is a bit of a reflection on its own, and I think, good God, did I help anyone or anything today? Am I noticing the world with enough gratitude? I made so many mistakes. But part of the challenge, I think, with practices like this, again, is not perfection. At its best, these practices are a reminder that all of these things happen in small ways, that we are always growing and always have another chance. Same as the poet, it's good to wonder sometimes, how did I show up in the world? To my loved ones, my community, to friends, strangers, or myself? Kind words are not the only reply to the world sometimes. Sometimes yelling and protest is important too. Or maybe we just mean kind doesn't always mean nice, but maybe it means honesty, shared in love, and that's kind. In times of harm, while yelling and protest is on one side of it, there can also be a regular perspective in caring practices to help shelter the impact of harm on those most susceptible to it. So when words or policies or actions are hurling harm towards someone, one part of kindness is to put up a little defense in opposition and at the same time provide comfort, protection, and care to those who are harmed. That's when we practice what shape our life takes, giving life the shape of justice, as one of our favorite hymns says. What gives our life shape? How is our life shaping us in those moments, in ways that attend to the movement and the possibility of form and beauty, justice and love? And I wonder, in moments and times and days when it seems turbulence is just the way of things, and your gut and your mind and your soul seem to jostle around and you feel a bit woozy, a shaking and rattling reminder of how not so smooth all the time life is, our lives, our days. Perhaps we can heed the wisdom of those who have gone through it again and again and again, and know that even in the midst of storm, there are ancestors and there are companions and there is a love larger than us holding us in an interdependent web of strength, of connection, steadying ourselves with what is right around us, bracing for the uncertainty with the wisdom of knowing you can't always predict how rough it might be, and offering to your neighbor right alongside us just a little reassurance, a kind smile, a little packet of sugar for their coffee, and to say, it's rough out here sometimes, but we'll steady ourselves the best we can. And either way, we are traveling together. So put your seatbelt on, and together we will find our way. For a closing hymn, I invite you in this beautiful traditional spiritual to think about, what do you steady your soul on? The traditional hymn says God, but I invite you to be creative too. Feel free to sing, there must be a love somewhere, or hope or beauty. Think about where you steady your soul and sing to that. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing Over My Head. invite you, as you're comfortable, place a hand on your heart or toward the sky or the earth in gratitude, and breathe deep the breath of life. Go yonder, and gather the people. Give them not hell, but courage and hope. Give them something of the love you have found here, and tell all the people that love is our home.